So that wasn't close at all, huh? I'm trying to be gracious about it. I really am. We won't dwell on it, but.
Everybody want to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
So, welcome back to Hobart's Library. Happy to have you. Please ignore my hair. I know it kind of you know what? Don't ignore my hair. It looks like my mom's yearbook photo. She was born in the 70s. And I love it. Like, I kind of love it. You know what? I might get a perm. At first, I was kind of weary about it because it was very big and poofy. Now I kind of love it. So, don't ignore my hair. In fact, compliment it, please. Today, we are doing the Beyond the Booktuber Tag. You will notice me reference this piece of paper. So I film on my phone, and I took a screenshot of the prompts. Celestria tagged me, and I went to her video, and in her video, in the description, she very kindly has put all of the prompts for this tag, and I took a screenshot of that, and then I printed it out because I film on my phone. I can't be on it to look at this, and I didn't feel like breaking out my laptop. So now I have this beautifully printed picture of Cece's face along with all of the prompts. Don't worry, I know it's weird. I'll throw this away. Okay, I promise I'll throw this away. I know it's weird. I'm sorry. Anyway, I think we're gonna get right into it. This is kind of a fun little tag. It's supposed to help you like get to know us ladies a little bit better. There are men too. So the first prompt is, what is your favorite book, series, genre, and author? My favorite book? Man, this is so hard. This is like whenever people ask me my favorite Bible verse. Like, there's so many good ones.
By the way, if I had to take like one Bible verse, if I had to, it would be the one from 1 Samuel where the Lord is calling to little Samuel. And he doesn't know who's calling him, he thinks it's Eli. So he goes to Eli and he says, here I am, for you called me. And Eli's like, I didn't call you, go lie down. And then it comes the second time, the Lord calls Samuel a second time, and Samuel gets up and he goes to Eli and he says, here I am, for you called me. And Eli says, I didn't call you, go lie down. And on the third time, Eli perceives that it's the Lord who's calling the boy, and he says, go lie down. And this time when he calls you, you will say, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. And so Samuel goes and he lies down, and when the Lord calls to him, he says, speak, for your servant is listening. And I just think that's such a beautiful example of faith.
I don't know why I'm talking about this. This is not the prompt. My favorite book, series, genre, and author. I love The Painter's Daughter by Julie Klassen, of course. I also love More Than Words Can Say by Karen Whittemire. Also an absolute delicacy of a book. I loved The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. I feel like Pride and Prejudice and Emma, like, I wouldn't think of them as a favorite book, but they are comfort reads for me, and I feel like that makes them deserving of some kind of spot on my favorite list. We're gonna go with that. My favorite series is, of course, the Hercule Poirot series. It's the only series that I read consistently, and I think that's because I didn't have to read them in order. I could read them in whatever order. Any series that follows the same theme, but I can read it in whatever order I want to, I love those. Because those are basically a bunch of standalones. I could do that all day. So my favorite series, Hercule Poirot series. Is there another one that I really love? No. Genre. Everything, of course, is in like the Christian genre, the Christian umbrella, if you will. Historical romance is my favorite. No, I guess just historical romance. Anything with romance. Like, I've been reading some contemporary romances recently, but historical, I get into kicks where like it's gotta be a Western or like from a certain time period, whether it's a biblical time period, a Western. I think I got like drained of like Victorian. I think I got really like, I read too many of those because there's like a wealth of that time period. But yeah, basically just historical romance. My favorite author, anytime I'm at a new bookstore and I'm looking for books, I look for Karen Whittemire. She's probably my favorite. But I also like Julie Klassen, whatever. The second prompt, what is your favorite color? Pick a book with that color on it. So I would say I have 2 favorite colors, and that is brown and pink. Luckily, my bookshelves are color coded, so this should be easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Should I try to find one that I've read, or should it intentionally be one that I haven't read? Okay, I grabbed 2, but both of them have pink and brown on them. So I got Shadows of Swanford Abbey. Haven't read this one, but actually I think I'm going to pick it up immediately because I was wanting, so during that reading sprint live that Celestria and I did, that's over on her channel, go check it out. I started a book, I'll put it up right here because I don't remember what it's called, and I didn't like it, and it's currently in I have a little pile of books that I'm getting rid of, and I was wanting like a mystery romance, a historical history romance thing, and that's what this is. That book that I started, I didn't like it, and I got rid of it, and this same deal, so I kind of forgot that I had this, but like her dress is pink, and then if you like color picked any of this, that's brown. I know that like in person it's probably not, but that's brown. But just in case you don't count that because it's technically just shadows, I also grabbed Heidi. She's got brown hair, and also the mountains behind her are brown. Do you think I've read it? No. Don't be absurd. I don't read. How do y'all feel about grapes?
They're eating. This is what's happening in our country.
What is your favorite season? Pick a book set in that season or a book you want to read in that season. Okay. A book based in that season is going to be very difficult for me because I feel like I never know what season a book is based in. Like, I just assume that it's based in, like, it's either a Christmas book, so it's based in winter, or it's in summer. Like, that's kind of it. Like, I can't really think of any books where I know the season. I always said that my favorite season was spring, because I love spring. I love the idea of spring. Spring makes me think of Winnie the Pooh. But I feel like what I really love is fictional spring. I don't love real spring because real spring is cold and all the snow is melting, so everything's wet and muddy. And I don't necessarily have a problem with those things. It's just like it's cold and wet and muddy and bad. It's just bad, and I don't enjoy it. So I found recently that I do prefer fall. The second part of this prompt is a book that you want to read in that season. Does that mean a book that I want to read that is based in that season, or a book that I want to read when that season comes around? I will say recently, because Christmas is coming up, because I think it's Christmas on like October 1st. Other than Christmas, I'm not a seasonal reader. Was it fall at some point in Pride and Prejudice? A lot of seasons happened during that book. All right, I got nothing. I really got nothing. I can't think of any books based in fall, and I also can't think of any books that I want to read come fall. Like, I guess I think of cookies when I think of fall, but that's because my brain is preparing me for Christmas. Whatever. Sorry, I really don't have an answer for that. I've been sitting here stewing on it for like 3 minutes. I'm not doing that. Prompt number 4 is, what is your favorite movie? Pick a book that has the same impression. I really don't like movies. I don't watch movies, but my favorite movie is probably Ella Enchanted. I love Ella Enchanted. It is funny. It is... And I can think of a book that gives the same impression as Ella Enchanted. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend. I'm sure everybody who's read the book says that it's better. I had the book for a long time and I was like, I ain't never gonna read this. But that movie is one of like my comfort movies. Ignore The Fly. There's always one of them, dude. Anyway, let me grab the book that gives the same impression as Ella Enchanted. In my head, anyway. Okay, I read this book a long time ago. before I was like a secure Christian who had convictions about reading certain things. So I will put right here if I need any content warnings, because I don't remember. It's been so long. But My Lady Jane, I know there's a movie coming out about this soon. I don't remember everything that happens in this. And I also will say, I didn't enjoy the other books in this series. I tried to read the second one and I was like, this is boring. So I didn't finish it. This book is hilarious though. The one thing I remember from this book was that it was very, very funny. And it's about royalty, and it's about a curse, and what else is Ella Enchanted about? Royalty and a curse, and romance, and funny, and same vibe. Like, I never would have made that connection if it weren't for this prompt on in this tag. This one's really funny. I don't know, I may try to reread this one. I remember enjoying this book a lot the first time I read it. Number 5, what is your favorite series? Pick a book you want to see turned into a series. So here's the thing. If you know me at all, I hate series. I really do. I really don't care for them at all. I never finish them. I don't know if I have a commitment issue or what it is, but I can't get into them. I can't do it. It's not interesting. It's not fun. My favorite series, of course, is the Hercule Poirot series, as previously mentioned. I would hate for any of the books that I love to get turned into a series. Like, I could at most do a duology. I could handle a duology, I think. But like a full-blown... I truly cannot think of any that I would want that to happen to. I would hate that. I would really hate that. So I've been sitting here thinking about it for literally like 10 minutes. And I finally came up with an answer, and it's sitting over there on my shelf, and I'm not going to get up to get it. I'm not going to keep getting up and getting down, because then I'm going to have this whole stack of books that I have to put away. So this is the book that I am thinking I would want a sequel to. Technically, it has a sequel. So this book is called Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss. Technically, it has a sequel called Hooked. But these are nonfiction books. They're about the food industry and how the food industry gets us hooked on foods that are really terribly unhealthy for us. And how they sort of use the way that our brains are wired against us to get us hooked on foods, and they don't really care how unhealthy these foods are. And they use the golden ratio of salt, sugar, and fat to get us to become like addicted to these foods. I could read endless books on how terrible the food industry is. And so for that reason, I would like to read a whole series about the food industry and how terrible it is. Okay, prompt number 6. Who is your favorite person from the Bible? Pick a similar fictional character. Mary Magdalene, I think, is my favorite. Probably. I mean, it's hard to pick of the saints who's my favorite saint. I'm gonna go with Mary Magdalene, just because every time somebody asks me who I'd want to sit down and talk to, she's the one I want to talk to. Let me think of it. There are so many characters that are similar to Mary Magdalene. Let me try to come up with a few just so that I can have them in my head. So I have a couple examples for you. 2 characters that I thought reminded me of Mary Magdalene. First one, I don't know if this counts, just because she was written based on Hosea's wife from the book of Hosea, the prophet Hosea. But from the book Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, the main character, I believe her name is Angel. Or at least that is her name at the beginning of the book. It's been a while since I've read it. But she has a lot of trauma and she has a lot of problems. And I don't say that in a derogatory way. I mean, she has been through so much, and she has so much sin in her life, not just her sin, but sin around her. But she you know, has a come to Jesus sort of thing happen in her life, and it's beautiful. And so in that way, she reminds me of Mary Magdalene, and so does Sophie Dupont from The Painter's Daughter. She has, you know, she's considered a fallen woman in her time period because she is pregnant outside of wedlock, and a man offers to marry her just so that she will be I'm gonna try really hard not to really get into the book because I could sit here and talk about it forever, but he offers to marry her just so that she won't be disgraced, and it's like this beautiful story, and it's, once again, it's a story of somebody who has had, you know, a lot of these are metaphorical demons, whereas Mary Magdalene had real ones, but you know what I mean. It's these women who have struggled and who have gone through things and who have done things that they're not proud of, and they find their way back to, and they find a redemption of a sort. Mary Magdalene, of course, found her salvation. These women, I think also, these are Christian books, so I think that as well. But those are the two that I picked for this prompt. Prompt number 7. What is your favorite food or dessert? Pick a book with food on the cover or heavy in the story. I have so many books about food. I love food.
Oh, yummo! A dandelion. Must be the last one of the season. Oh.
My favorite dessert is probably ice cream. My favorite cake is carrot cake. Just in case anybody ever wants to send me one. And my favorite food is watermelon.
Which, by the way, I've discovered that I have in common with a lot of my preschool students at the daycare. These kids, like, every time you ask them, like, if they're pretending to be dinosaurs eating something, you ask them, what is your dinosaur eating? They always say watermelon and blueberries. Except for this one girl who says that her dinosaur is having a pink drink.
2 books that are heavy in the food. Hold on. Okay, we're going with fiction, just so you know. I didn't grab any more of my sad food books. I grabbed some good ones. Well, one of them actually is sad, but okay, so the first one is, again, More Than Words Can Say by Karen Whittemire, and this one is the main character. Why is there hair all over this book? The main female character she owns a bakery, and she, so it was her dad's bakery, and then her dad fell sick and passed away, and at the beginning of the book, the town council has told her, well, you know we loved your dad's bakery and everything, but you're a woman, and your name can't be the only one on the lease to own the property. You need a man to sign on, and she decides that she's going to need a marriage of convenience in order to keep her bakery, and I love it so much. But that's this book. The other book that I'm going to mention, I'm gonna put content warnings over here, because you're gonna need them. This is not Christian fiction. This is a book that I read a while ago. I'm pretty sure it probably has language in it, so I will put any content warnings that I need to over here, but this book is called What I Lost by Alexandra Ballard. So, for a while, I did read a lot of books that were about main characters who also struggled with a lot of mental health issues, just because that was something that I related to. And this one is about a 16-year-old girl with an eating disorder. And she has been sent to a treatment center for girls with eating disorders. And she's pretty much determined to just get through the treatment so that she can go home and go back to living her life the way that she was living it before. But then she starts receiving mysterious packages, and she doesn't know who they're from. They're from like an ex-boyfriend or maybe a secret admirer or someone just playing a cruel prank on her. But it's genuinely like a really I remember really loving this book. It was hard to read, but I remember really loving it. It's not that big. It's like a normal sized little book, but I just thought I'd mention a book that I don't think I've seen on this side of YouTube before. Again, content warnings. I'm sure I have a few of them. Probably a good amount of swear words. I'd have to check. Next prompt, number 8. What hobbies do you have besides reading? Have you read a book featuring one of those hobbies? I like to paint, and I like to draw, and recently I've picked up playing the piano. And I feel like characters are either good at fighting, have a good singing voice, or are artists secretly. All of those are secret things. Have you ever noticed that? That's like the 3 things that characters do. So I'm sure I can think of a handful or so. You'll recall this book that I read during the reading sprint live stream that I didn't enjoy. Well, the main character was a painter. So, yay! I know that in Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth Bennet plays the piano very poorly, but she plays the piano nonetheless. But you know what? I think that's actually a perfect fit, because I too play the piano really very poorly. And every time I say that to my family, they're like, well, you'll get better. It's like, yeah, we'll go with those. Number 9. Who posted the last booktube video you watched? Pick a book you saw on their channel that you loved or want to read soon. I'm pretty sure Celestria is the last booktube channel that I watched. And a book that she recommended that I loved. I hate to bring up the Blades of Akhtar series. I started reading the Blades of Akhtar series, and I loved it. I really did. And one day, perhaps I will finish it. I want to. You don't understand. This is my problem. I want to finish it. But I have no desire to pick up the book or to open it on my phone. Every time I do it, I'm like, I don't want to be doing this. I want to know the story. I want to know what happens. I want to read it. I just have no desire to. I don't know how to explain that to you, but I read the first 3 books, I think. Got to book 4 and I was like, well, I feel like the series could have ended after 3 books. And you know what? If it had, I bet I wouldn't have gotten to book 3. If it was a 3-book series, if it was a trilogy, I bet I wouldn't have gotten there. I bet I would have gotten to like 1.5 and then called it quits. But I do really love those books. And I'm sorry. I did a whole reading vlog that is still in my drafts. It's still in my edits. I'm still working on editing it. Because I have this vague hope that one day, I think it's been over a year. But I have this like vague hope in my brain that one day I will finish it. Last prompt. Tag someone. Okay, I looked around. We're gonna do Morgan from Morgan's Endless Bookshelf and Haley from Haley Annabelle. If either of you feel like you don't want to do it, don't feel obligated. And Haley, you might have done it before, but you haven't done it in the past 2 years. So, all right. Thank you to Cece for tagging me in this super fun little book tag. I'll put the creator down in the description box. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Once again, this is kind of a longer video because that's all I know how to do because I talk too much. But yeah, it was super fun talking to you guys. I hope you're all having a really awesome week, and I will see you all again here soon at Hobart's Library.